Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes! Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
A new week begins right here, right now, live on a Monday morning on the early line on SportsGrid and all across the SportsGrid network. That includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination to consume everything all across the grid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens, and for the first time in the 2024 National Football League season, on this Monday morning, we play Monday Morning Armchair Quarterback. We recap the entirety of the Sunday slate around week number 1 of this NFL season to kick things off. A weird Sunday to open up this season with a few surprises around the league, but that's how it often works. All of our reactions and recaps from week number 1 over these 3 hours up until 11 a.m. Eastern.
This is great. This is what we live for. Monday morning armchair quarterback to go over these games, to say what we thought went well, what we thought didn't go well, and also some of the futures of these teams. Keep in mind, week number 1 is overreaction week. Teams are not as great as they thought we were in week number 1, and they're certainly not as poor as we thought they were. Now, the question is going to be is, how do you decipher that for week number 2? Let's just say the Carolina Panthers. Oh, they're not. Maybe they are just as bad as they were last year, and we'll find out. So some good times to be had by all, and I can't wait to get it started, man.
The Panthers got routed yesterday in a divisional duel in New Orleans to open things up. We'll break it all down here over these next 3 hours. But we start with the big news of Sunday into one of the marquee matchups in the afternoon window. Dak Prescott, on the final few hours before the NFL season fully kicked off, got paid a 4-year, $240 million extension with the Cowboys to become the highest paid player in the history of the National Football League. That is $60 million annually on average, blowing way past Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love, who all 3 guys making $55 million per year now look up at Dak Prescott as the highest paid player in the history of the NFL. So Dak gets paid and then delivers on that paycheck as the Cowboys go into Cleveland, win outright as a 2.5-point underdog, 33-17. We'll talk about what Dak did, DRS, but the story of the football game outside of the paycheck is the guy on the other side who is getting guaranteed money and looks like he shouldn't even be playing at the FBS level in college football. Deshaun Watson stinks.
No, and you know what? You hit the nail on the head. Like, there's not even any analysis needed for that. And also, you know what's interesting to me, Ben? Like, I've watched a lot of Deshaun Watson football over the past couple years, particularly when he was great in Houston. His throwing motion seems different to me at this point now. It just doesn't seem like he has a lot of snap on the football. Maybe it is that arm fatigue, but you're right about it. This was one of the biggest coups in the history of sports to get guaranteed money at that level, regardless of what happens on the football field. And you're right, 24 of 45, 169 yards passing, which means 3.8 yards per average. He was terrible all the way through. And it wasn't even so much, Ben, some of the throws, the decision-making. On fourth down, what are you taking sacks for, rolling out of the pocket? At least if you throw the football downfield, it gets intercepted 20 yards down. It's similar to like a punting situation. He was terrible in the pocket, outside of the pocket, decision-making. And my goodness, for the Cleveland Browns, who I guess their fans might have had a lot of excitement entering into the season, I wasn't high on them in the AFC North. That was a brutal opening day performance.
Brutal day for the Browns in front of the dog pound. We'll have further breakdowns as we go throughout the show. Sunday night football to end out the week one slate in the first full Sunday. A playoff rematch in the Motor City. It was close last January between the Rams and the Lions. It was close last night. Detroit kicks a field goal under half a minute remaining. Jake Bates, welcome to the National Football League, ties it at 20-all, and in OT, Detroit gets the football first, drives down the field. David Montgomery finds Pater. The Lions win in overtime, 26-20. Detroit covers as a 5.5-point home favorite.
I mean, fantastic. What a game all the way through. And also, shout out Matthew Stafford, 34 of 49, 317, and a touchdown. His team was injured at the tackle position. They lose Puka Nacua early in that game, and it didn't matter. Cooper Kupp looks like he's back and back in form, Ben. 14 catches, a $110, and a touchdown. They had the lead late. Now, the only thing that can spoil one of these games, and I understand, it's similar to me, Ben, like you have to put the runner on second base in Major League Baseball because you can't have games going all night long. Why do I say that? Detroit got the opening kickoff. The Rams, or the opening kickoff in overtime. The Rams never got the football. The Lions score. And yes, you could say, well, the Rams should have stopped them here. You can't go all night toe for toe and play six quarters on opening night with a 17-game season. So I understand why that happens. Credit to Detroit for being strong in the fourth quarter, coming back, getting that late field goal, and then taking that opening drive in overtime and winning the game. Entertaining, Ben, all the way around.
The Sunshine State Showdown in Miami. I heard on the PFT pregame show, Kevin asked the question, what in the world is happening in Miami? Tyreek Hill detained prior to the game, but did play and did score a touchdown. It was part of the Fins rally, down 14-0 to Jacksonville early in the first half. Miami comes all the way back. Jason Sanders, 52-yarder. As time expires, the Dolphins win, but the Jags cover as a 3.5-point underdog.
We had some wild comebacks yesterday. Maybe teams that deserved to win games and didn't deserve to win games. But what's the one thing we knew, Ben? Tua Tagovailoa, 338 yards in that game? Absolutely. Look at the wide receivers. Tyreek Hill, 7 for 130. Waddle, 5 for 109. Devon Achane, 7 for 76. They are as explosive as it gets. And yes, a wild start to the day, which included Tyreek Hill face down, being arrested or detained, only to come into that football game and launch an 80-yard bomb there and go all the way for the distance and a win for the Miami Dolphins. Entertaining? Yes, it was.
College football action week number 2 in the second full Saturday of the season. I will remind Donnie that his take for Michigan can wait just a little bit as we fire through the 7-in-7. But Texas goes into the big house and wins big in dominant fashion, 31-12 over the reigning national champs. The Longhorns easily cover as a touchdown favorite in Ann Arbor.
A shout out to the public, by the way. When this line, Ben, opened up at 3.5, the public say, I don't care. Bet at the 4.5. We don't even care. 5.5. 6, give me more. 7.5. Give me more. Congratulations, Sharps. You got crushed in that game late, taking the Michigan Wolverines. Texas was better. Start to finish, absolutely.
Sharon Moore there for his second full game as the permanent head coach, although he's not really working under a contract. That's a different story for a different day. What did Michigan risk to win a national championship? It appears everything. A monumental upset under the watchful eye of Touchdown Jesus on Saturday afternoon in South Bend. Northern Illinois upsets Notre Dame. The Huskies winning outright as a 28.5-point underdog, 16-14 over the Irish.
It's almost like the Irish, that dominant squad because of that national presence on NBC. Ben, they can pick any quarterback they want. So they go to Wake Forest, followed by Duke. Yeah, you sow that what you seeds there. What is it? You sow what you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Reap what you
Notre
sow.
Dame. Enjoy that L, baby. And we all enjoyed it around the country. Trust me on that.
It is the biggest upset at the FBS level since the 2021 college football season. U.S. Open, the finals over the weekend. First in the women's draw on Saturday afternoon, Aryna Sabalenka triumphant in Queens after losing in the final last year to Coco Gauff. She wins the Grand Slam this year over the American Jessie Pegula. Another American finally making it to a final in a Grand Slam. But Taylor Fritz not enough against the world number one in Jannik Sinner. He won the Australian Open to start the year of Grand Slams. He ends the year with another major at the United States Open.
Feels like the U.S. Open started when Major League Baseball started at the end of March, and it's finally over at this point. Congratulations to the winners here. My goodness.
Yeah, it does take a while, a fortnight indeed. WNBA action down the home stretch of this regular season, and the New York Liberty making a statement that they should be the title favorites. They hold off the Aces, winning that rivalry matchup yesterday afternoon.
I guess Liberty. There, that's what I got on the game.
Yeah, listen, he's a Monday morning armchair quarterback, Joe Frizo. Stop with the tennis and WNBA stuff here. Come on now. We got to dive into week one. We'll do that up next. We start in Cleveland. Dak Good, Deshaun Bad. We break it down next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoff.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
Week number one of the 2024 NFL season. Our first full Sunday slate, 13 games all Sunday long. It started with 8 in the early window, kicking at 1 p.m. Eastern. We had 4 in the afternoon window, and of course, Sunday night football in the Motor City. But we start with a marquee matchup, and even before the full day started, some big breaking news. Within 30 minutes from when those 8 games at the 1 p.m. Eastern window were about to get underway, we got the bombshell out of the Star in Dallas. Dak Prescott signing the long-awaited offseason extension on the first day of the regular season. A 4-year, $240 million deal that makes Dak Prescott the highest paid player in the history of the National Football League. $60 million per year, Donnie Rightside, blowing way past the previous high of the $55 million a year of Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, and earlier this offseason, Jordan Love. Dak Prescott, now the highest paid player in the history of the NFL.
Let's start here with this. Number one, Dak Prescott is not overpaid. Dak Prescott got what we all thought he was going to get, resetting the quarterback market. Maybe some thought it would be like a year later than it was, but it happens before the season. So I don't think anybody's surprised by that. Here's the issue I have with what came down, Ben. When we entered into the offseason, there's 2 things that we know from the Dallas Cowboys, and maybe 3 if you can include Micah Parsons on the outside. You had 3 talented players that needed new contracts. Jerry Jones told us, Ben, that before the season started in the offseason, we are going all in. So I asked this question. Why did we wait until basically game week for both CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott to get taken care of? Because if you would have done this back in March, your salary cap numbers for both of those players, even though they signed monster contracts, would have lowered the team's deal for the offseason, which means they would have more money to spend on the free agent market. So I like the fact that Dak got a deal. He wasn't going anywhere. We knew he was going to be a Dallas Cowboy and get paid a lot of money. The same thing for CeeDee Lamb. But can you imagine if Jerry Jones was smart enough? Because honestly, we waited a long time. What really changed? We knew CeeDee Lamb was going to get a ton of money, and he did. We knew Dak Prescott was going to be the highest paid player in the history of the NFL, and he did that. If you did it in March, Jerry Jones, you might have some extra talent on that roster, so you could, quote-unquote, actually be all in. That was my only surprise. Not the numbers, or not these 2 players are paid before the season. Why did we wait so long?
That's the right question, Donnie. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think Jerry Jones really had as much leverage or power as he would like to say he did. But the good news for the boys, now their 2 biggest pieces of their franchise outside of Micah Parsons, who will have the same conversation next offseason and summer for his big new deal following year 4 in the NFL, is that Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are now under contract, not entering the final year of their deal without a new contract in sight. It's just Mike McCarthy, the head coach, who is currently working under the final year of that deal. There are questions, of course, about Dak Prescott. Playoff record, just 2-5. Has not been able to elevate Dallas to that Super Bowl level. Of course, the Cowboys have not won a Super Bowl championship since their last in 1995. They have not reached the NFC title game in that span as well, nearly 3 decades and 13 playoff trips. Not all of that is on Dak Prescott, but he has not been the quarterback or the central figure to change it. Some Dallas fans not happy to pay Dak, but Donnie is right. He was going to reset the quarterback market either now or next offseason. It just happened on the first day of the NFL regular season, or at least the first full Sunday. So now let's get to the actual game the Cowboys played in Cleveland. Tom Brady's broadcasting debut in the booth, but for Dallas, pretty good. 33-17, the win on the road in the land. The Cowboys were booked as a 2.5-point underdog. They went outright, a total of 42.5, skies over. DRS last year, Dallas booked as an underdog just 4 times, 0-4 against the spread, not covering by an average margin of 12 points per game. Dak gets paid, the vibes are high, not necessarily for Deshaun Watson and the Browns, and the Cowboys go into Cleveland and went outright.
They did. Let's start with your first point, though. Tom Brady in the booth, because this was a big deal. This is a mega contract that's spread out over like 10 years and $300+ million. I'm usually the biggest hater of all haters and love to put my hater hat on and anything to rip the Patriots, because the Patriots are so far in the past right now that you can't even see them, because that football team, even though they won, we're not expecting big things even into the future of the next 2 or 3 years. The reason I bring that up is there was a lot of hate for Tom Brady. What do you expect out of a color guy on TV to be? Do you expect him to magically reappear in like the future and tell you plays before they happen, or be like a Tony Romo and guess every single play until you get one correctly here. So I'm not going to be lumping into Tom Brady. But the one thing we never understood here, Ben, is how Tom Brady got that job for that much money. Why? Because he's Tom Brady. But number two, what did you want him to do in the booth? I mean, hey, he'll get understanding. He is going to get better. But I don't know what the expectations were for Tom Brady to be like John Madden right away, day number one. Now, let's get outside of that. The Cleveland Browns, horrendous from start to finish. The offense stinks, and it's a high-paid offense because Deshaun Watson has more guaranteed money than anybody in the history of the NFL. You take a look at their rushing game. It's now Jerome Ford, 12 carries for 44 yards. Nick Chubb might not even come back and be the old Nick Chubb that we like to see. You take a look at the wide receiver position. David Njoku, only 4 catches, 44 yards. Ben, he gets injured. We don't know when he's coming back here. You signed Jerry Jeudy, 3 for 25. I understand he scored a touchdown, but it was a meaningless one. You take a look at Amari Cooper, 2 for 16. This team stinks from top to bottom because if you look at the Dallas Cowboys, what they had been like 250, 260 yards total in that game and blew the doors off the Cleveland Browns because of how bad their offense was. I was so disappointed. Now, granted, I know Dallas is going to win 10 games. We said that before. I had Dallas yesterday with the points, but I couldn't believe watching the Browns of how bad that offense actually is.
So there's been a lot of optimism for the Cleveland Browns and their highly priced quarterback in Deshaun Watson for quite some time. 8.5 still the win total for Cleveland. The under, though, now has the juice. We've talked about mega contracts. Tom Brady with Fox in the booth. Dak Prescott yesterday didn't have to do much. 19 of 32, 179 yards, a touchdown. Ezekiel Elliott scored. Kevontae Turpin had a punt return touchdown. The story is Deshaun Watson, the 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract that Cleveland gave up 3 first-round picks back to Houston for. I am going to slam this guy's ability on the other side of the break as we continue our NFL recaps next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoff.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
A matchups of quarterbacks yesterday in Cleveland. Dak Prescott, fine. Cowboys did not have to do much because the offense on the other side, the Browns, absolutely atrocious. Deshaun Watson, $230 million fully guaranteed, and his cap hits continue to go up in the land. This is what he delivered yesterday. 24 of 45, 169 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. In the 12 full games that he has played for Cleveland, he has thrown for more than 250 yards only twice. He has 15 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. It is the worst investment we have ever seen in the history of the National Football League. A fully guaranteed deal, multiple draft picks, including multiple first-rounders sent back to Houston for a guy whose morals are worse than his ability to play quarterback. Cleveland, I'm sad to say for Browns fans, but the organization got what they deserved.
They really have. And again, sometimes you talk about like selling a piece of yourself off the field to get a better form on the field, because everybody needs quarterbacks been in the NFL. And quite frankly, I don't think very many people actually saw this move when it went down and said, you know what, let's remove the off-field issues here for Deshaun Watson. We actually think he's going to be a really good quarterback, and maybe Cleveland had to sell out to get that quarterback because they couldn't draft one or get high enough, let's just say, to draft one. But it's been so fun. I can't remember a time, because we do have busts that come into the NFL. Used to be back in the day where you had non-slotted positions been around number one. Jamarcus Russell just comes to mind. You pay him like $100 million guaranteed, and he's terrible right off the bat. You're like, what are we going to do about it? But the simple fact that you gave up 3 first-round picks and gave more money to a quarterback than we've ever seen, and it's guaranteed. There's no escape clause on that contract, Ben, like you have with Daniel Jones, who we'll get to talking to in just a little bit here. You can't get out of it. You eat every bit of that $200+ million, and you're getting quarterback play as if he's a third or fourth stringer here, just barely trying to hang on in the NFL. Like Joe Flacco was moving. Did you bring Joe Flacco in doing a much better job than what we see out of Deshaun Watson? And again, I get back to the point, Ben. Sometimes you can just have bad quarterback play, but the decision-making made absolutely no sense, and they were right to just boo the heck out of Deshaun Watson, because when I watch a 4th down and 2 play, when everything is breaking down and nobody's open, if you take the sack, you just basically like, what are you doing? Just give it a chance. A pass interference down the field, an interception, so what? You're already going to turn it over anyway. Maybe your guy makes a great catch. On the field, he has been tremendously terrible, and that's what I'm surprised at.
He has been worse than mediocre. He is what would be an abomination to the word even average. Deshaun Watson stinks. Jameis Winston, I don't think your days as a backup are long in Cleveland. Kevin Stefanski won his 2nd Coach of the Year award last year, not for reinvigorating the career of Deshaun Watson, who was injured, but because he led Joe Flacco in the Browns to a playoff spot. The Browns were a great defense to start last year with Myles Garrett anchoring that unit. They were the 5th best scoring defense in the first month and a half, limiting opponents to only 15 points per game. They ended the year giving up better than 21 points per game. The reason I bring that up, their totals were always very, very low, because it was still the idea, all right, Flacco's not Deshaun Watson or the starter, and the defense is good. Yesterday, 42.5, sky's over. The Browns have played 19 games, including the postseason, over the past year plus now, 13 times over. It is the highest over percentage in the National Football League. And even in overtime, the highest total of the weekend stays under. But Detroit wins the opener, 26-20 in OT over the LA Rams. Matthew Stafford throwing for 317 yards. Cooper Kupp looking darn good as well, with a shoddy offensive line missing a ton of key pieces on either side. Puka Nacua left the game at the half as well. The Rams fought, but the Lions win in OT. David Montgomery capping off the opening drive of overtime with a touchdown to end it. The Lions victorious 26-20 DRS. Detroit covers as a 4.5-point home favorite.
This game was so Matthew Stafford, Ben, it hurts. And why I say that is he was back in Detroit, and that final score usually was the Detroit Lions losing that type of game with Matthew Stafford absolutely balling out, getting crushed in the pocket, still hanging in there, not enough guys on their offensive line, star wide receiver going down, and it didn't matter. Quite frankly, they probably should have won that football game, and they might have been if they got the ball in overtime. But Stafford threw 49 times for 317. That was a great game to watch. This is a big one here for the Detroit Lions. That's an NFC game against an opponent that's probably going to be in the playoffs for the Rams. You couldn't lose that game. You were dominating early, let it slip away. Wait, but the heart of a champion, win that bad boy in overtime. Nice win for the Lions yesterday.
Very nice win for Detroit. They got the ball back on their own 31 in regulation with just over 2 minutes remaining. Tied the game to send it to OT. More around the NFL next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoff.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
One final point from the overtime game to end out the Sunday slate. Our first full Sunday of week number 1 of this 2024 NFL season. The Lions DRS, because they score that touchdown, getting the football first in overtime, do cover as a 4.5-point favorite. Detroit under Dan Campbell became the head coach in the Motor City back in 2021. Made a lot of people chuckle with the biting kneecaps thing. It's no joke for the Lions now, as we know. But covering numbers, the Lions 38-17 since the start of the 2021 season. That's nearly a 70% cover percentage. It is the best in the National Football League. Early in Dan Campbell's tenure, that was covering games booked as an underdog, keeping it closer than expected. Now booked as a favorite often, 16 times. Last year, 11-5 ATS. They covered their opening game as a 4.5-point home favorite on Sunday night against LA.
Absolutely. I like this team, and I think they have the best offensive line overall in football. And sometimes you take a look at these games and say, okay, we never really know how things are going to go in week number 1. Love David Montgomery. Boy, he looked good out there. 17 carries, Ben, 91 yards and a touchdown. Then Jahmyr Gibbs, 11 for 40 with a touchdown and also chipped in with 4 catches for 34 yards. But when you say to yourself, how does this offense actually move? Usually it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. You tell me before the game, Ben, that St. Brown's going to play this game and have 3 catches for 13 yards. That's a Rams victory. But you know who we've been waiting for? Saying, you know what? Even though he got injured in college, we'll wait the extra year or so, suspensions. We think this guy's going to be a talent. That's Jamison Williams. 5 for 121, big playability and a touchdown. They're so talented across the board. quarterback, running back, tight end, offensive line, wide receiver. It's fun to watch them play, and you just need a defense that's going to do what it did yesterday. Yes, they give up a lot of yards, but if you tell me the Detroit Lions are going to be a defense that's going to hold you to around 20 points, they're going to win a lot of football games because they are built on offense, not necessarily defense. That's why I think it was such a good win. They dominated the first half, let it slip away, but also, you're right, Dan Campbell preaches about we are going to be in some adverse situations. Let's see if we can fight our way through it. And they did that. Took the football in overtime, marched down the field easily, and punched in a touchdown, walked away with a big-time opening night win. So I like the fact that the Lions, it was like, hey, it's all Amon-Ra St. Brown. Good to see Jamison Williams back to what we thought he could be in the NFL.
8-play, 70-yard drive in OT. Jamison Williams more than $120 through the air and a deep touchdown strike from Jared Goff. By the way, David Montgomery remains the lead back for all of you fantasy players out there. 17 carries, 91 yards, the game-winning touchdown in OT. But Jahmyr Gibbs did carry the ball 11 times, did have a rushing score as well, 40 yards on the ground, 4 grabs for 34 yards. Still a key component of the offense under Ben Johnson. Plenty of debuts, in-season debuts yesterday in 2024, maybe most notably in Atlanta. The Kirk Cousins era. It did not look good against former Falcons head coach, now new offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh, Arthur Smith, with a quarterback nobody expected to start in Justin Fields, as Russell Wilson is dealing with a calf injury. Fields pretty good. 17 of 23, 156 yards, 57 on the ground. No, the Steelers did not score an offensive touchdown, but they still win the football game in the ATL, 18-10, outright as a 4.5-point underdog. Total of 42.5, of course, stays under. Donnie, I thought the Falcons would be a team, and they still might once Kirk Cousins figures it out. Let's not forget, he also tore his Achilles last year at the age of 36 and is trying to come back in a new arena for Atlanta. But the Falcons stay well under this number, and we'll show you the stats of Kirk Cousins because that is the story. 16 of 26, 155 yards, touchdown, and 2 interceptions, including a costly interception where Atlanta was down by just 5, single-score game, driving into Steelers territory, under 3 minutes remaining, and Kirk throws his second pick of the game.
Yeah, looking at the game yesterday, I actually thought Atlanta would win, but no way I was going to lay the 4.5. I actually figured it'd be like a 24-21 game either way, but I thought the Falcons would be better. This is so, this Steelers game is just going to be a microcosm of their season, because I know if you're a
100%.
Steelers fan, everybody loves to win opening day, and you're hoping that it can continue. But the simple fact of the matter is, this is the way they're going to have to win football games, not doing all that much on offense, relying on T.J. Watt being an absolute beast from the outside linebacker position, which he was once again yesterday with multiple plays, just crushing the pocket, turnovers. You guessed it. He was the superstar yesterday. But if we're focused on Justin Fields, he did what he needed to do. 17 of 23 for 156. That's Justin Fields. Justin Fields last year, if you remember, the Chicago Bears the past maybe 2 years. Hey, what's his passing prop? 135.5. And you laugh at that. And he's still doing that to this day, but they're still winning football games here. 1-0 for Pittsburgh. It makes no sense. But also, you got Kirk Cousins. And I looked at last year, Ben, with the Atlanta Falcons, and it was simple to me. Give me a competent quarterback, at least in the regular season. That team is good enough on defense and offense and has the weapons. I just need to make the common throw, and you win a lot of games. Kirk Cousins was terrible yesterday. Not going to go back and watch the complete game altogether, but some of the plays that he was making, throws that a rookie shouldn't make. There's something to be said, Ben, about going deep in one-on-one coverage and getting intercepted because the defender made a great play on it. You can live that and fight another day. But when you're throwing footballs into 2 and 3 guys where it has no chance to get to your wide receiver, you're basically going to have a losing scenario, and you got that yesterday. This was a team better than the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the Pittsburgh Steelers' performance was, let's not turn the football over, let's play great defense and see what happens, and it turned out to be a win for him.
And Chris Boswell, who enters his 10th year as the Steelers kicker, a perfect 6 for 6 yesterday. He was the offense, including a 57-yarder in Atlanta. A tough debut for Kirk Cousins. Still probably seeing T.J. Watt in his nightmares even on this Monday. A sack, 2 tackles for loss for T.J. Watt, 3 quarterback hits of Kirk Cousins. The Steelers under Mike Tomlin We know how good they are covering numbers as a dog. Now, Donnie, 58, 35, and 5 since Tomlin became the head coach in 2007. Cover percentage of slightly better than 62%. The only team in the National Football League with a cover percentage of 60% or better as a dog in the last 17 plus years. Now, year number 18. They are 49 and 49 outright as an underdog under Mike Tomlin. 7-5 straight up as a dog since the start of last season in 2023. Justin Fields no longer in Chicago. Quarterback play was reminiscent of Fields' day in the Windy City yesterday in Caleb Williams' debut. It was not great. He looked shaky. He did not look sound. 14 of 29 for only 93 yards. Heck, the Bears had less than 150 yards of total offense. But we'll give Caleb Williams some credit. Will Levis, he is really, really bad. The Bears come all the way back. They win 24-17. They were down by 2 touchdowns at the break, 17-3. The Bears come all the way back to even cover as a 3.5-point home favorite. A total of 43.5 stays under. In the second half, here's how the Bears came back. A blocked punt touchdown, Jonathan Owens taking it back, a strip sack that led to a field goal, and an INT return on perhaps the worst pass the NFL has ever seen out of the right arm of Will Levis.
You know, sometimes you want to just pick up the Matic controller and play the scenario out, Ben. Like, what happens if I would have gotten up 17-0 with the Titans in Madden and then just took a knee the rest of the game and didn't even try to play offense? The Tennessee Titans would have won this football game. Now, shout out Caleb Williams. He was excited after the game, and rightfully so as a rookie. He was brutal in that football game. The Bears were brutal in that football game, but the Titans absolutely gave it away. And yesterday, even on the pregame show, I'm saying, I don't know why we're crowning the Bears as Super Bowl champion. Now, granted, most people aren't doing that, but there's a lot of hype coming in. And I said to myself in my Sunday morning play, it was sell me something. I said Will Levis would throw for more touchdowns than Caleb Williams. He did. But also, I had to include a bet in there of 1.5 touchdowns, which is plus 155. And theoretically, he did that because he threw a touchdown to the other team. But this is the worry, right? Because I said they spent money well for the Titans in the offseason, which I thought they could get to 6 wins. And early on, like, this is going perfectly. And then you remember, Will Levis, like, you just can't have terrible quarterback play, Ben. And that's exactly what you got. They should be 1-0, and they're 0-1 because their quarterback stinks. Man.
A surrender cobra on his knees while Chicago is taking the pick six back for the game winner. I mean, that guy stinks. Deshaun Watson stinks. Those are not overreactions after week 1. More reactions next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoff.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yeah!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
The rookie quarterbacks on display yesterday, rough in many spots. We continue in Tampa, where the Buccaneers, the three-time reigning divisional champs in the NFC South, might still be the best team in the NFC South. We shall discuss, but the Bucs win big at home, 37-20 over the Commanders in Jaden Daniels' debut. The Bucs easily cover as a 3.5-point home favorite. Total of 42.5 does go over. The Bucs were just a favorite 6 times last year, despite winning the division and winning a playoff game. They were 3-3 against the spread. They start 2024 with a cover, and Baker Mayfield was sensational. 24 of 30, 289 yards, 4 touchdowns. 2 of them to Mike Evans, a touchdown and 83 yards for Chris Godwin. And Jaden Daniels, 184 passing yards, but 88 on the ground, showing off the athleticism and the legs. 2 rushing scores as well. DRS, I know you were keying in on Jaden Daniels' ability to move yesterday. He makes good on that number despite his Commanders team falling by 3 scores in Tampa.
Yeah, we'll get to the Commanders in just a second, but this game, I really like the Buccaneers. 3.5-point favorites. Yeah. I thought this made a lot of sense. A rookie going on the road, new head coach, new system here, and we'll get to them in a second. But let's talk about Baker Mayfield, and let's talk about what happens with like a butterfly effect from Cleveland. This is a guy that was drafted number 1 overall to be the savior in Cleveland. Had a decent start to his career, but was banged up and injured for most of the way. And you know what got Baker Mayfield in trouble here, Ben, which is a shame? He blows up his shoulder, but says, you know what? It's my guys out there. I'm going to try to tough this out. And the rest of that season didn't go all that well. And then they became enamored with Deshaun Watson and just gave up on Baker Mayfield, goes to Carolina, then finds his way to Tampa Bay and shows up yesterday, 24 of 30 with that big contract, 289, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. So if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, ownership, general manager, you got to be saying to yourself, boy, if we just would have kept him here, got his shoulder surgery, paid him way less than we had Deshaun Watson, we might actually be looking like a playoff team. But that's neither here nor there. Loved what I saw out of Tampa Bay because if you're looking and saying, in the past, Ben, we haven't gotten a running game cranked up yet. Did you see Bucky Irvin yesterday late in that game? You finally got a kid with some legs that's explosive. 9 carries for 62 yards. Rashad White does what he does. 15 for 31. He's never going to be that big, explosive guy in the backfield, but he does add some really nice gains on the side as that satellite running back. Throw it to him, they can make some yards. I like to see that. We obviously know that wide receiving position is good. Jalen McMillan, 1 catch, 32 yards, but the rookie cashes in. Now let's flip it over to the Commanders. They're going to be just fine. And yesterday, licking my chops, Ben, 39.5 was the rushing prop on Jaden Daniels. Did I think he'd run 16 times? Absolutely not. But don't we obviously know on the road, hostile environment, rookie quarterback that is as fast as anybody on the football field. We didn't think he was going to start to take off and run in this game. 16 for 88 and 2 scores. He'll be just fine. It's hard to play quarterback as a rookie, but also I look down this list. Terry McLaurin, 2 catches for 17 yards. Luke McCaffrey, 3 for 18. Like Zach Ertz had 28 yards. Robinson, 49 and 52 for Eckler. Those are running backs. So we don't yet have that downfield capability for Jaden Daniels, but that's just a byproduct, Ben, of being in your first game going, my first wideout isn't open. My second wideout isn't open. Let me just look for the dump off or run at this point. He'll learn. I wasn't depressed with the Commanders' performance. It'll be a long year. They'll win 5 to 6 games, but I was so impressed by Tampa Bay. That offense looked really good, and Baker Mayfield looked sensational, Ben.
The Falcons, the divisional favorites with a minus in front of their price, looked awful yesterday in the home debut for Kirk Cousins against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We talked about the New Orleans Saints early. They absolutely blow out the Panthers 47-10. Bryce Young might be bad. The Panthers can't cover numbers even as an underdog. Now 4-12-2 against the spread, booked as a dog in all 18 games since the start of last year. But the Buccaneers are going to be there. They have won the division 3 consecutive years. Atlanta, by the way, now plus 150, not minus 140. Bucs third best price at plus 230, and the Saints at a 2-1 number. Those 3 teams at the top of the divisional odds, separated by less than $1. 3 rookie quarterbacks making their NFL career debuts yesterday. Caleb Williams, although he was bad, led his Bears to a win. Jaden Daniels, not great. He falls by 3 scores in Tampa. And Bo Nix, not great either in the Northwest, where Seattle starts the Mike McDonald era with a victory, 26-20 over the Broncos. Even covering as a 5.5-point favorite, total of 42.5 does go over. Bo Nix, 26-42 DRS, 138 yards, did not throw a touchdown, and had 2 interceptions. A rushing touchdown that made it a 1-score game late in the 4th, but really the final score is a little bit closer than what the actual game felt like as the 4th quarter played out.
It really was. And also, let's get back to the original point in this. It's very hard to make money with rookie quarterbacks. You should have went 0-3 if you're just betting the rookie quarterbacks across the board, because Caleb was terrible in that game. And also, just watching Bo Nix, we understand he played a lot of college football, and he's going to make bad decisions and bad reads. That's what rookies do in the rookie year, in their first starts, going up to Seattle, going into that crowd against the 12s. But look at Ben. He threw 42 times. His average was 3.3 yards. I mean, and 2 interceptions. And also, did you watch that game? Just throwing terrible interceptions in the. I mean, it had it all. Like, I think he's going to be okay, but you look at that line and say, and even for all the rookie quarterbacks passing, quite frankly, it's like, did they learn anything in training camp at this point? But they are rookies. It's the school of hard knocks. It's the NFL. They'll get better. But that's a performance that you said, if I maybe just had Jared Stidham, do we win the game against the Seahawks? I don't know, but good Bo Nix, you're going to have to get much, much better than what we saw on Sunday for sure.
DRS in a picks pool, I had the Broncos, where they were slated as the underdog team of the week in my picks pool, which means when you assign points to them, it doubles. I took a shot. Rookie head coach in the Northwest for Seattle, not overly optimistic about the Hawks. Maybe Bo Nix could do something. Down 2 scores, 4th quarter. Bo Nix rolls out to his right. I'm like, oh, he's looking for something. They're driving. They're in Seattle territory. He threw a ball into 4 Seattle guys that was intercepted. Man. And I was like, oh, no. That was a bad pick on my part. Hand up.
I mean, look, rookie quarterbacks will get you in trouble, probably in your marriage, in your pocketbook, your fantasy pools, and also whatever you got. Go stay away from the rookie quarterbacks, people, because they should. Now, granted, they'll get better as the season goes on. But goodness, man, 42 throws for an average of 3.3 and a QBR rating of a 30. That's what you get out of rookies, man. Tough team.
The biggest upset of week number 1 that nobody expected. Next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
A shocking start in Cincinnati. The largest spread of week number 1, 7.5 points in favor of the Bengals against the New England Patriots, who entered the year with the lowest win total in all of the NFL at 4.5. The Patriots chalked one up on that win total with an outright victory as more than a touchdown underdog in Cincy. 16-10 over Joe Burrow, who played, Jamar Chase, who played, T. Higgins did not, but the Bengals a blunder to begin. Cincinnati made the Super Bowl to end out the 2021 NFL season. In Los Angeles, they came up oh so short against the Rams. In the 3 years since now, the Bengals have lost their home opener each and every time, laying at least a touchdown in all 3 of the openers to begin a new season. The Patriots win outright 16-10. If, like me, you told significant others to take the Bengals in a survivor pool because it did not matter about the offseason drama, the Patriots were just that bad, you're having a tough Monday morning, and your credibility has been questioned.
I love, and again, week 1 is always hard to pick. Now, we were on the panel yesterday. Yeah. I didn't say the Cincinnati Bengals would lose that game. Quite frankly, it's hard to just say, the Patriots will be able to win any games on the road, regardless of who they're actually playing. But no way, shape, or form were we going to lay the 7 points. I was taking the points all day long, and I love the outcome because it doesn't mean I'm right here on the season for the Bengals, but it doesn't mean I'm wrong right off the bat. You lose a game to maybe the least talented team. That's arguably what the Panthers are going to turn out to be, New England Patriots. But Mike Brown, I'm speaking right to you right now. It's your fault. It's 1,000% your fault. You had this turmoil on your team all the way through. And we were waiting on the show yesterday, right up to the final, list coming out at 11:30, the inactives, to see if Jamar Chase was going to play. How did it get to that scenario? Can you imagine? Once again, Jamar Chase is going to get a lot of money. If you pay T. Higgins long-term, if you paid Jamar Chase long-term, you had them in camp and ready to go for game number 1, Ben, Cincinnati Bengals 27, New England Patriots 10. I honestly believe that would have been your final. But when I talk about the vibes of the locker room, they just equate it to the Miami Dolphins. You paid Waddle, you paid Hill, you paid Tua Tagovailoa. Did you see their numbers yesterday? Were they worried about showing up to the game? Now, forget about what happened in the antics with Tyreek Hill. But nobody was worried about, if I get hurt in this game or I skipped all training camp and I'm just going to show up on game day. I'm going to make up stories the day before. I'm really sick. I'm under the weather. Maybe I don't show up at meetings now. You can't do this to your football team. Cincinnati is too talented to lose to the New England Patriots on opening day. And now you're saying, is there now a dug-in, entrenched argument that you better pay Jamar Chase today or tomorrow and not have this linger throughout the season? It's disgraceful what happened to the Bengals. But I love the fact that me ripping the Bengals, and I told you, Ben, right? Time and time again. Yeah. Who was my fade team this year? It was the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 0-1 off an embarrassing loss and had nothing to do with the players technically on the field. It's their ownership group allowing this situation to fester, and that's what you get. 10 points against the Patriots, an embarrassing loss at home to start the season.
And now 10-1 for the Bengals to win the AFC, the 6th longest price. They were at plus 750 with the 3rd best number entering the season. The bleach blonde hair of Joe Burrow looks pretty sad on the sideline when you're losing to the Patriots in the season opener. He threw for 164 yards, 62 of them to Jamar Chase. And good for Gerard Mayo, winning his coaching debut in New England. We bagged on the Pats all offseason throughout preseason. preseason and training camp for their handling of the quarterback situation. It worked out yesterday. The Pats were just 4-7-1 against the spread as a dog last year, a year in which they won only 4 games. They win outright as an underdog in week number 1, and the win total rises from 4.5 to 5 and a hook. A couple of big comebacks yesterday, including in Miami. The Dolphins stormed back, down 14-zip to the Jags early in the opening half, down 17-7 at the halftime break. Jason Sanders, 52-yard walk-off field goal winner for the Fins. Jacksonville does cover as a 3.5-point road underdog, but the Dolphins do start 1-0.
Yeah, you know what? I can't wait because tomorrow I get to watch all of these games back and take some time. I didn't get to see a ton of this game outside of the highlights and some red zone action. I want to see how that Jacksonville Jaguars team actually be operated in the second half after having that lead, because it looks like maybe they got conservative. 12 of 21 for Lawrence, $162 and 1 touchdown here. Maybe you want to keep your pedal down by figuring out sooner or later that Miami Dolphins offense is going to wake up, and it did wake up. Tua, 338. Your 2 wide receivers, absolutely filthy. Achane dominant there in the passing game. I liked what I see in the statistics here. I just want to find out what we got out of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They let that game slip away.
6 second-half drives for Jacksonville. 4 punts, a fumble by Travis Etienne, and a turnover on downs to start the fourth quarter. Plenty more around the National Football League when Hour 2 starts next.